Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, we listen to the intuitive guidance, we take your questions live and integrate your comments and questions throughout the broadcast. And ooh, do we have a lot to cover? It is the word. There's a few words. There's a few themes going on, and I'm just going to kick it off right. Clarity, change, metamorphosis. I mean, it's just action packed right now, and this push pull, this squeezing. Don Marie, one of the Soul family members, mentioned that. So let's just kick it off. And good morning to everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are around the globe. Put in the comments that where you're joining, say hello. And again, questions, comments as things are resonating, as you're feeling something, place it in the comments and we will integrate it throughout the broadcast. So welcome, Colleen, Lorna, good morning. So excited. And let me just jump in. I'm going to jump in. Deborah, good morning. Um, I'm going to bring up the main theme because this is what it's all about. And here's this beautiful image of these iridescent, like luminescent butterflies. You can see the mushrooms, the growth coming out of the native soil. Good morning, Ian. Good afternoon. And the whole theme. And notice how they're like indigo. They're glowing. Their light is coming to life. And so this is because the main theme is metamorphosis. Oh, the limitless possibilities. And so we're really, and how funny again, it's March 29th, 29, that anaretic degree, that degree of faith, that degree of not giving up, of where we're right at the edge, we're right at the threshold, the precipice of this enormous change. And here it is, and literally, meta means change, morpho means form. And there was this correlation biblically. Metamorphosis is known as transfiguration. And it's about when Master Jesus went up on the mountain and was transfigured. His form was changed. He became illumined, like he was radiating light. And so when you look at this image of these iridescent, indigo lit, beautiful butterflies coming, in essence, up out of the native soil. Because, of course, caterpillar to butterfly, these mushrooms being magical. And I mean that in the sense of, when you look at fairy tales and myth and so forth, there's an association with mushrooms being in a fantasy land, a mythical land. And yet here's this native soil, and you notice that it's a forest in the background. And so there's this whole wood element going on, wood and water right now. It's the year of the rabbit, it's the yin rabbit, and that's a water element, wood and water together. Trees, wood, roots, the tree of life, our roots, our foundation, our source of life, the rivers, the living waters. So you can see how this, but hold this image, and it will be posted in the show thread later. However, this is the image. This is the moment of metamorphosis, transfiguration, of changing form, and how we're going to become, in essence, iridescent, indigo light. These light beings. We always have been, but now it's like somebody walked over and just flipped a switch. Like there's always been this hidden switch within us, and it's like God, Spirit, Source, Symphony walks over and goes dunk and turns, flips the switch, and everyone's like, oh wow, like, oh, this is different. I'm different. There's a change. And so, and why? Well, because it's time. It's time. It's finally time. And this is where one of our main mantras, it's two of them. I'm going to bring up the first one. This was from last week. It's about us. It's about us advancing, moving to the new, this new era, new way of being. And remember, with Pluto moving into Aquarius, these revolutions, French Revolution, American Revolution, it was known as the Age of Enlightenment. There was it was the Industrial Revolution. So you can see how when Pluto was moved into Aquarius the previous time, these are the epic transformations that came about. Well, now it's like that, and I keep saying this, it's like that on steroids. It's because there's such an advance. We've come this far. So there's this mantra of advance, and then you're going to see how the fluidity, and there's a reason the imagery, you see the stars, you see this almost like liquid ice, this colored iridescent, and it's all about right place, right time, right everything. It is about being in the flow, and not only being in the flow, but trusting the flow, trusting your soul source connection. We have been talking about this. You know, the lady Jacqueline and I embarked on this last year, November 17th, 2021. And it was all about getting into alignment, getting into sync with the divine, the return of the divine feminine, this return to self, soul self. We've been in ego self for 2000 plus years. This is a return to the soul. This is where the soul leads. The soul returns and takes its rightful place, her rightful place. Because the soul is birthed, right? It comes through. It is birthed through the divine feminine, through the mother. And so, and yes, the divine masculine plays its role. And this is about the age of the harmony, the balance, the intuitiveness, going as guided, over overruling, and yet we won't even have to worry about it, but it's like overruling ego, mind, personality. This is where the struggle comes in. This is where when the heart and the soul are in contrast, in contradiction, in confrontation to the ego, mind, personality, this is what happens. Well, that's going away. This is that unified force. So just keep, so you'll see how, and we're going to work with hexagram 30. You're going to see how the fluidity of synchronicity, the flowing, the being in the flow with your divine soul self. And I'm just hearing right now, they're kind of stopping me and saying, what does that mean? What does that literally mean? And what that literally means, and I apologize, it looks like the sound may be going in and out. I have a full signal, so I hope it will continue. Um, you can let me know in the comments as we're going along. What this means is there's always been this ideal and this thought of being in alignment with soul, with your soul source connection, symphony, God, this higher hand, higher power. And yet, quote unquote, life gets in the way. Life muddles it up. We can't be who we truly are. We can't make a living at what we truly love. There's all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, the parental influences, the life influences. So you can see how all all of these masks, all of these layers that have worn us down or kept us down. And it was purposeful in a sense. It was purposeful. You know, there's always purpose in the struggle. Always. It is never that we're meant to stay in the struggle or become the struggle, the challenge. It's not about becoming the lesson. It's about transcending it. It is about evolving, metamorphosis, changing form, ascending to a higher state of being, of consciousness. And we can see on the world stage right now how challenging, how disparate these two sides are. And there's a massive amount of humans, of souls on the planet at this moment that are saying, advance, no more of this. We're done with this old way. We're done with this old paradigm. We're done with um, the density, the denseness of the lesson, of struggling to get, of the struggle, of struggling to get somewhere. Deliverance. Deliver us to a higher, greater state of being. Metamorphosis. Oh, the limitless possibilities. This transfiguration, this change, this changing form, changing ways. And so you can see how, and I want to bring in the fact that with this, Pam Youngins, who does the North Point Journal, she's an astrologer, and I've placed her in the threads in the on my Dearjames Facebook page. So she was talking about this last week, where again, remember on the exact date, on the 23rd of March, where Pluto ingressed into Aquarius. She said, light-filled skies, incredibly vibrant auroras danced across Earth's skies late last week, courtesy of a severe G4 geomagnetic storm that occurred on March 23rd and 24th. Since the storm had not been forecast by the heliophysicist, in brackets, space weather scientists, and it was the strongest geostorm in almost 6 years, the event definitely got our attention. And then she goes on to say how it affects us, that these geomantic expressions hit, and it's like imagine the intensity of the sun. Well, you've got this G4 force hitting, it's coming out of nowhere, they didn't see it coming. It coincides exactly with Pluto ingressing into Aquarius. And she's talking about how it can, that literally scientific research shows that it affects our stress, our human heart, blood pressure, melatonin levels, nervous system, behaviors, and that it plays out for a few, it'll play out for a few days, but in totality as well. Well, this is the point. This last week, and there was multiple people early on in the week, um, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're feeling the intensity, the pressure, the anxiety, the kind of like anger, push, pull, this squeezing, and felt its effects. And of course, she goes on to talk about how, in many respects, we can consider geomantic storms to be one of many tools of the cosmos, assisting us on our journey of enlightenment. So while it feels like you're being fried and you're just up against the wall, you're being squeezed and pressed and seemingly out of nowhere, again, out of nowhere. And yet what it's doing is it's forcing us to release, to break free from that which no longer serves. It's stopping us in our tracks. And there's a post I did, so Facing the Mountain. If you haven't read it, please do. It's on all of my social media. The point is, it was a channeled message, um, and it's talking about how. And the minute I pivoted to the mountain, all of the anxiety, all the stress, all that pressure went, and it released. And then in came, and I knew to get my journal, and I just started writing. By the time I finished that, I had gone from anxiety, pressured, spinning, like not, and for no reason, no, to absolute peace, calm, knowing, excitement, inspiration, and off I went. And the day went from being like, I don't know what, I talked about the little black walk-in closet that saved me, um, where I would go into this walk-in closet and it was the only thing that would hold me together until I could come out again and emerge again. And think about it in relation to metamorphosis, the butterfly, the caterpillar to the butterfly. And so you can see how what they're saying here is it released all of that and it aligned me with the mountain. Moses went to the mountain to receive God, to hear God, to receive the tablets, to guide, to work with the people. This is for all of us. Go to the mountain, and whatever that may be. I mean, this is literally a literal mountain for me in this journey. It may be the same for you. I know Lorna also experienced that with a mountain and so forth. So it's about remembering that when we, quote unquote, when we go to the mountain, we're aligned. We're aligning ourselves with Source. We're aligning ourselves to receive, to calm and center ourselves, to get back on track, get in the right lane, get out of this mental anxiety, the pressure, the squeezing, because it's not about the squeezing. I mean, you squeeze an orange, you squeeze a citrus, you get the fruits of the labor, you get the juice. The Lady Jacqueline, you get the juicy parts. That's where we're going with all of this. This is where they're saying alignment, and it's fluid. It's being fluid. That's why it's so important to realize right place, right time, right everything advances you. And in order to be in the right place at the right time for the right everything, you've got to surrender your ego, your mind, your personality, all the monkey mind, all that chatter, all that pressure, all of that dis-ease, discomfort. You recognize it, and then you surrender it, and you say, and then go to the mountain. Now, the mountain may be a park. It may be the little black walk-in closet. Whatever it is, wherever it is, that allows you to release, to surrender and release the old, to place in the old ego, mind, personality, chatter, masks, labels, identities, shoulda, woulda, couldas, shadow, wherever it allows you to release the shadow, because release it meaning you're going to purge it, you're going to cleanse it. That's why it's being squeezed, because we're going to squeeze out the best of it, and then the rest is discarded. And by doing so, you're going to the mountain. And this is where so much of this comes through, because in the astrological influences, so to continue where there's these um, that geomantic storm that happened at the same time Pluto went into Aquarius, not to get lost. Here was what came up for the astrological influence. And I'm looking at what's happening. And then I just heard very simply, calm before major transformation, change, advance. And this is tying into this Pluto moving into Aquarius. And again, it's going to move back and forth. It's going to be at the zero degree of Aquarius, 29 degree of Capricorn. It's going to go back and forth until January of 2024. But here what they're saying is calm before major transformation. So it's the calm before change. It's the calm before advance. And I kind of started laughing because I thought, well, there's a little bit of an irony here, because I'm like, in one regard, it is calm. There's a calmness, and yet simultaneously there is this squeezing pressure, this, and so I was very mindful, again, be in the flow. It's fluid, not fixed. If you're demanding an outcome, if you're demanding a way, if you are demanding, it's for all of you that can see my face, I'm like, that's not going to be so great, because it's not. We are moving. Remember, Capricorn, fixed, Earth, fixed, to fluid, Aquarius, air, fluid, movement, knowing that we are going as guided, knowing that we are being led. It's hexagram 17, follow, be led. We are the guest. Remember, we're the guest. We're not the host. And when we're in alignment with the host, the way, the will, our metamorphosis, our change of limitless possibility unfolds. The old unravels. Just, they're showing me this like, like you can see my hands going, but because I'm in my head, I'm mimicking these twisted pieces of paper that are just unraveling, like shooting off, um, and they fall away. And what remains? The juice, the pulp, the juice, the quality, the divine essence of who we are. That's what remains. All of this other stuff that we've been dealing with for what seems like an eternity, because again, remember, the current system is karmic. The karmic system is incarnational, karmic. We go and we come back, we go and we come back. And believe that, don't believe that, that's up to you. However, when you realize that we do reincarnate, we do come back, and we do consistently keep working on in soul groups, we keep working with other souls in a karmic way, meaning to achieve balance, to achieve harmony, to achieve a state of divinity, divine expression. And we've been on this hamster wheel, this treadmill for millennia. And all of a sudden it's like, you know, God, the big G, the all that is going like, yeah, I'm tired of that. I'm done with that. New, metamorphosis, change, changing form, indigo, iridescence, coming to life in a way that we have not experienced in eons. It's not that we didn't experience it long, long ago. However, it's the wheel of fortune. We're coming back around. And when they were talking about this, the first thing they said was a complete change. And the word change is underlined, capitalized, underlined. And they said a complete change of mind, body, soul, and spirit. The heart leads the way. The heart leads the way. What this means again is the heart. The heart is about feeling, intuition, knowing, feeling, emotions to the sense that they are balanced and harmonic. Because again, emotions can run the gamut, right? So this is about what you feel it, you know it. It's an intuition, it's a knowing, which means it's an alignment. It's in alignment with the heart, the way. So this is going to be, and you can see with the heart, you're feeling it. It is an emotion. You feel it. It's a knowing. When we think it, ego, mind, personality, we're thinking it. It's a thought. And we have been in think mode, thought mode for a long time. Too long, one would say. And again, it's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about the harmony and the balance. It's that Mazda rotary engine. They are in unison with one. However, the heart leads. And the heart leads, which means the soul is leading because it's in alignment with true north. The soul can never, ever, ever, ever lead you astray. Never, ever, ever. Let me say it. Can I say never, ever? Never. It can, it only knows true north. It only knows highest and best. It only knows because that's what it is. It is the purity, it's the essence and the purity of source. And so it knows the way, it knows the plan, it knows. Ego, mind, personality doesn't. It's veiled. So as the veil lifts, we're going to come into greater unity, and you're going to know that the heart leads the way. So lead with your heart. I want to incorporate some of your comments and everything. So all the way back, and Alicia, welcome, and Kim, Lorna, so Kelly Marie. So here with this, Ain is saying singing, shine, shine, shine. Exactly. Um, there's this beautiful piece about, um, and Lauren is saying, I've been hanging out up in my room, looking out my window, and not demanding, and wonder-filled day from Dogwood Shores. Yes, Kelly. So here's what's happening. And you can see me bouncing a little bit all over the place because there's so much in this one. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm going to come to, it's the song from John Mayer, Gravity. And he's talking about that this is the most, and the word gravity, and there's a play here on words, because of course the song, the lyrics is the word gravity. We'll replace that word with clarity. Now he says, this is the most important song I've ever written. It's a time capsule song. I will listen to it every day of my life if I need to. It's honest to God the most important song I've ever written in my life, and it has the fewest words. I was in LA, and think about that. Most important song, the fewest words. See, speaking, thought, conveying something. Heart, it's a knowing, it's a feeling. The fewest words. It doesn't need to be explained. You just understand it. It's a knowing. It's a heart-centered soul source connection expression. He says, I was in Los Angeles and I was there for the summer just writing tunes, and I was in the shower. And I don't know where it came from, but it's the truth. I just sang gravity is working against me. This is a song about making sure you still love yourself, making sure you still have your head on, making sure you still say no the way your mom would say no. And I will need it every day of my life because it's easier to mess up than it is to stay here. And so, gravity, this place where it represents the challenge, the struggle, the opportunity, and they're utilizing this song as an expression. Gravity, clarity, clarity, we're being lifted higher. Clarity, the fog is being cleared, the density, the gravity is being released, is being cleared. And look at how beautiful he's talking about the fact about staying in the right place of being, like your mom would remind you and tell you. Divine feminine, this grow up and be a good human. Grow up and be the best your soul has to offer. Go out and shine your light in a do no harm manner. Go forth and express this form of your being, and say it to yourself over and over. I'll sing the song, I'll say the lyrics over and over and over every day if I need to ensure that I stay in this space, this lane, this vein of fluidity, soul, source, connection, divine connection. Because gravity keeps pulling me down. Gravity, ego, mind, personality can pull me down. And when I'm down, air quotes, when I'm down, see, I'm down. I'm not in that higher octave. I'm not in that more pure state of being. Is it self-imposed, self-inflicted? Am I pressing on myself? Is the universe pressing on me? Because make no mistake about it, walking the talk here. When the when the universe needs to step in, and they already have your approval, your soul gave it before it ever incarnated. So they work with you. And if that squeeze needs to happen, it's going to happen. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And so it's for us. Um, Olivia is commenting, remember the harmonic convergence in the 80s? And soon after that, the Berlin Wall came down, not because of politics, but the force that made the change. Exactly. And remember this whole theme too, revolution, we the people. What you're witnessing, look what just happened in Israel. They go to do a power grab to mess with the judicial system, whatever, to extract more power. And the immediacy of the people swarmed the streets and said, no, no. There's this whole kind of, again, this patriarchal seizing, controlling power, manipulation, mind. It's all going away. Train left the station. Doesn't mean that there aren't those clinging to that. And let me just bring up this quote, because this is a good one from it's part of today. It says, neediness is how we misplace our sense of center. Neediness, this need to control, this need for power, this need to be God in essence. I know better. I know best. Ego mind, this neediness is how we misplace our sense of center. Because when we're in harmony and balance and oneness, and we harness, as Olivia was saying, it wasn't politics, it was people saying enough. And that's a collective. That's an energy that's unspoken, and it just naturally, it just ripples out. And the vast majority of 8 billion humans walking the planet are saying, advance, go this way. And go this way meaning a directional, like to this place, but go this way, as in, this is the way. Walk in this lane, stay in this lane. Up, metamorphosis, change form, this beauty of this indigo iridescent life. Look at how magical this image is, and feel it. Feel that change, that luminescence, that iridescence, that indigo light coming to life. And note, do you notice that when they talk about the book of love, it talks about iridescent indigo light on the edge of the pages? You see it in Beauty and the Beast, that indigo blue iridescence light. It's this light, this magical light that represents the divine. We use it in fairy tales. They talk about it in association with the book of love. You can say the heart leads the way. So you can see how all of these are coming together. So yes, Olivia, welcome, Sophie. Kelly is saying, standing outside this morning and my brother came out and we were looking at trees and he made a comment and I responded with calming force, this from source. Exactly. The trees speaking, the wood element, the sustenance, the roots, the and the witness. Remember, trees bear witness. They absorb, just like humans, and they absorb. And then the rings of their trunk tell a story. Scientists can go back and examine the rings, the trunk, and it will tell them, oh, at this age or at this time, this element occurred because it was in the environment, it was in our psyche. And when you really stand and look with trees, the wood element, simply sit with a tree and see the faces, hear the wisdom that starts coming back to you. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about seeing things like we did before, but an octave higher. Seeing things for the first time and not taking them for granted. Seeing the images, the faces, the spirits in all of these, all around us, in one another. Because again, if we're not connected, if we're ego mind personality driven, connected, we're not seeing each other's soul. We're not seeing each other's divinity. It's as if it's not there. And or we only see it in natural disasters. Something horrible or bad happens. And what do they always say? Oh, the best of us comes out at that point, which implies that it's normally hidden in the recesses because we're not leading with it. Well, now imagine leading with it. Imagine seeing it in your fellow human, seeing it in everything that's around you, and realizing maybe for the first time that epiphany moment, that metamorphosis of change of going, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it is, because that is the change. This patriarchal power, manipulation, mind control, it's over. And remember with everything, so again, Aquarius, air, it is about technology, right? It's technology and all these things. So remember though, original, I call this original intelligence versus artificial intelligence. You hear all over in the news, AI, artificial intelligence. And yet we've forgotten about original intelligence. And the definition of artificial, made or produced by human beings rather than occurring naturally, especially as a copy of something natural, of a person or their behavior, insincere or affected. So you can see artificial intelligence is something produced by humans that we're mimicking something that naturally occurs, original intelligence. So again, ego, mind, personality, artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence can be amazingly great and helpful and advancing when it is in alignment with original intelligence. Do no harm, purity, the goodness of something, recognizing just because you can doesn't mean you should. I mean, stop. I just saw this. They were somewhere, I can't remember, it's New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, they're serving mammoth meatballs based on mammoth DNA. Hmm. Okay, now think about that. The woolly mammoth has been extinct for I don't know how long, but science, so the original isn't here. Its DNA is here, but its original being form isn't here. And we are now lab growing mammoth, artificial intelligence mammoth meat. I saw this about we're this close to having lab grown chicken. There's an issue here where, again, we the people have the power and the opportunity to say no, to say just because you can doesn't mean you should, and to go back and address or readdress, shift the balance so that we once again, like indigenous and native peoples, we're one with Mother Earth, land, being other beings, animals, and that we raise them and utilize them in a proper manner, in a proper way, as opposed to, well, we've exhausted this, or we've burned it out, or we've destroyed that so badly that we now think the next answer is to do it artificially. Somehow the original, somehow that which is created naturally isn't it anymore. But it's only because our ego, mind, personalities, we've lost the connection to its beingness, to its original state of offering, of being, its purity. So we got to come back. We come back meaning go forward. We've got to advance to where we just reset, we transform everything, we transfigure it. It's a metamorphosis, and thereby artificial intelligence stays in check, stays in harmony and balance. Because otherwise, we're just walking around saying that the human, the guest, is smarter or better knows more than the original, the host. Hmm. Food for thought. So, Colleen said, yes, that would be amazing. Kelly Marie, I am centered and awake. Colleen, this is the entire world right now. Kim saying goosebumps. Olivia, the feminine must come now due to what the politics are trying to control women and using their bodies to do it. Remember, as bleak as it may appear, as hideously retro as it may appear, 2023 is no one's 1950. It's just not. And when speaking of that, when you look back at 1950 from an enlightenment standpoint, there are many, many, many metaphysical spiritualists, theosophists. You can read their materials, and it's as if in 1950 they were speaking of this moment right now. And look, from the patriarchal clinging to an old way, not wanting the train to leave the station, they're trying to take you back to that state, to 1950, but to the shadow element of it, this mind control. There is no, remember, they told us some shows ago, this force, the divine feminine, returning, taking her rightful place, and that this energy was not to be contained, bottled up, hidden, sold. It's not even possible. It is to be It is to move through you. It is to move you. It is to guide you. It is to nourish and empower you. And so while, yes, this world stage may look like they're trying to just spin the clock back, by decades, the people are saying, mm-mm, no, that way, this way. We are going, remember, the arc of destiny is forward. It's not backwards, it's forward. So this clinging, this going back to something is an illusion. It's a masquerade. They're saying it's a masquerade. It's a joke. It is going to crumble. Why? It's the second thing. And they did these alphabetized this week. Alpha, beta, um, delta, centauri, epsilon. They did them in letter form. Item number B, they said rapturous, thunderous change, navigating in the new. A whole new being hyphen way of being. See the light all around within. So again, I'm putting this up because it's such a beautiful image. See this light all around and within, because there's going to be rapturous, thunderous change. It is the calm before the advance. So while it may appear that things are, going backwards and things are going astray, rest assured, the arc of destiny is forward. She has arrived. And the next step upon her arrival is advance. So the illusion may look like nothing's happening. The illusion may look like it's all, pardon me, going to hell in a handbag. It's all just falling apart. And yet, uh-uh, that's an illusion. That's a mind game. That's a mind, that's a minefield, a mind field. The purity and the essence of the divine feminine, of the Aquarian age, of the matriarchal rule is advancing. She's here to stay. And you can go and look, we can always, like astrology, you can always go back and see, like we do with Pluto moving into Aquarius. Well, we can look back 200 plus years and say, look what happened when that happened last time. Well, you can look to see that each time on um, on the grand wheel, the great wheel, it takes roughly 26,000 years for each for the wheel to complete. It's 2,000 plus years in each sign of the zodiac. It goes counterclockwise. Each time it advanced, so from Aries, when the age was of Aries, the bull, and how it moved um, drawing a blank, sorry, the one in between, but to Pisces, Fisher of Men, you can see the changes and you can see the advancement of society, of humankind, and you can see the clashing, the struggle. But what you know, what you can see from historical evidence is that the old fell away because, Master Jesus bridged the two, Aries and Pisces. So he's both known as the Fisher of Men and the Lamb, the Ram, because he bridged the change. He bridged this shift. Well, now we're shifting again from Pisces to Aquarius, from the fish to the water bearer, to the bringing forth of Soma, wisdom, age of enlightenment, higher learning, expansion, metamorphosis, transfiguration. But what history shows us, what history demonstrates, is the arc of destiny moves forward. The wheel is ever moving forward. It doesn't, even if it's going counterclockwise, that's the way it goes. That's the revolution, the rotation. It doesn't go backwards. It doesn't stop and go, oh, wait a minute, we're going to go the other way. No, it marches on. So here we have this. So let me jump in. I love all your comments. Here we are. So Colleen is saying, absolutely, the fear of men and their perceived loss of control. Now, I'm not going to add in which they screwed everything up. Ego, mind, personality. Remember, everything is purposeful. Some of our greatest challenges, the shadow work, is where we have something to compare it to, is where the struggle means more. That when we finally triumph, when we finally receive, it creates and bestows humility and grace. So go deeper than the fact that they just screwed it up. Because I've said this statement many times recently. Not all men are bad and not all women are good. What matters, what truly defines a leader, or is their character, is their center, is their connection. And so it's to remember, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We are not eradicating patriarchal rule or the patriarchy any more than we are elevating or raising the matriarch over the patriarch. Matriarchal rule is about the harmony, the balance, the yin yang, the purity of the light and the shadow, the purity of the depth of both of them, and our connection to both of them. Because masculine, feminine, transgender, it doesn't matter. What matters, we are all things. We are all things at all times. So if we're a man and we've got too much feminine, we need to bring in a little more masculine. If we have too much masculine, we need to bring in more feminine. The same is true for women, transgender. It's fine. And the transgender represent a real, true struggle. It is a physical 3D struggle to represent a return to a balanced state of being. Masculine, feminine, within. They're demonstrating that the purity of that example on a physical level. I know that a lot of people don't understand that. However, when we look in the chain of struggles and we're advancing forward to the ideal, which is we are returning to a state of wholeness, a state of purity, a state of grace, a state of divinity. We are all things at all times. In a 3D example, they are demonstrating the depth of that struggle. It's purposeful. It's not a mistake. It's purposeful. We just need to be willing to see the example that's being placed before us. Not demonize it, not dehumanize it, not attack it. And in the same vein, like we were just saying with this, and to also not beat up or use it as a weapon, as a cudgel, to achieve something either. We gotta we gotta walk together with one another. Um, and yes, they don't want to lose control. Absolutely true. The powers that be, and this is the demonstration, the powers that be don't want to lose the control they have, the power they have. But okay, well, good luck with that. How's that working out for you? Because the arc of destiny moves forward. Period. So get on the train. You know, it's that old thing of like, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, you're not going to beat source. You're not going to beat original intelligence. You're not going to beat destiny. So if you can't beat them, join them, and join them in this fluid, metamorphous state of change, of changing form. That's how we're doing it. I want to jump in with, and then I'll come back to some of your comments and everything, because there's a lot of them. I hear them clicking, clicking, clicking. Hexagram 30, and this was so interesting. 29, today's the 29th. The Saturn at 29 degrees before it moved into Pisces. Pluto, 29 degrees before it moved into Aquarius. Coming up in April, because on March 31st, we had one new moon in Aries. It was an Aries new moon. At the end of April is going to be a second new moon in Aries. It's going to be at 29 degrees. That new moon it's on April 20th. That new moon at 29 degrees is also going to be conjunct with a total solar eclipse. It's a hybrid eclipse, meaning it's total and annular. And I'll put some stuff about what all that means. The point being is, and the first new moon that was on the 21st of March in Aries, 0 degrees Aries, was at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The one on April 20th coming up is at 29 degrees Aries at 12:13. And remember a few shows ago, I kept saying we're going from this 12 to a 13. We're going from 22 to 23. This up leveling, this amplification of our being, of our essence. And so in this hybrid, do you get, transfiguration, hybrid. We are hybrid beings. We are divine masculine, divine feminine. We are all of that in one. The density of the karmic wheel and the cycle and this patriarchal rule has dumbed that out of us, we got to put everybody in little boxes, and this is the only way we can understand something, is if it's identified. If I don't like the label, if I don't like the identity, then I demonize it, dehumanize it, oppress it, suppress it, attack it. Yeah, that ship has sailed. So make room at the table. Make room at your own table. Make room within, which is your own table. Make room to see things new, differently. Because remember, it's the fool's journey, and it's the magician, and the journey begins anew. It is this beautiful image of being childlike, of returning to the meadow and the grace. It's the journey begins anew, and knowing that everything we need, divine magic is at play, is at hand, divine guidance. The heart leads the way. And it is the magician, it is the host, it is the magician that offers every tool we need to see things anew, to go about um, divining. Divining is, to find when you're using divining rods and everything, but it's divining, they're making a play. It's about divining the way forward, going as guided, listening to your soul source connection, allowing it to lead, because lead it will, lead it is going to. And you're either, you're either on the train and moving in alignment and flow with it, or it's going to put you on blast and you're cleaving and hanging on And that's a hopeless cause. So its action, so clarity is hexagram 30. It's known as Li. Its clarity, its action is perceive. Its hidden influence is critical mass, adjust. We the people, critical mass, adjusting to move forward, to move with the arc of destiny. Its underlining cause, 29, abyss, relinquish control, relinquish all of these things, this ego, mind, personality, control. So it's going to feel like we're completely out of control because it's so foreign to us. But like anything, like exercising your body, your mind, your diet, anything, your soul, it's exercising. It takes practice. It takes courage. It takes commitment. It takes faith. It takes positivity. It's knowing that when I relinquish my ego, mind, personality, my control, that patriarchal, and notice how that applies to all of us. It's not just the men in the room. It's not just the men that they've just been the representation of it. It's very loud. It's in your face. It's not fun or comfortable. They've just demonstrated for 2,000 plus years how being in control, the mind being in control, and what that does. Artificial intelligence versus the soul, divine feminine, the soul, the relinquishing of control, the surrendering of putting the service, the ego, mind, personality in service to the soul. Original intelligence, how when we line up with that, enlightenment comes. We owe the limitless possibilities because we're in a different lane, a different vein, a different way of being. So it says, there's two quotes here. When you can appreciate nature's power to break through all barriers, you will discover that this same power is inside of you. There's nothing we can't accomplish with and through source, with and through soul source connection, soul leading. It talks about, and then life is a pure flame and we live by an invisible sun within us. So it's a pure flame with this invisible sun. Remember, the patriarch, the sun, it is our life force. It's just how far have we gotten away from that light, that invisible sun, the purity of it, the goodness of it, the intent and intention of it. That was a quote by Thomas Brown. So it says, Lee is associated with enlightenment and nurturing the idea of serving clarity of purpose. The judgment says, care of a cow brings good fortune. Should you have the opportunity to care for a cow, you learn about interdependency, a mindset of being docile, serving another, and the voluntary dependence you share with life. Remember, when we revere all life, all beings, all things, the way we raise livestock, agriculture, and how that nourishes us. See, we learn our interdependency with it. We learn and remember I don't know if this, vitalness of the purity of what we're doing. It needs to be pure. We don't just bash everything out of it, use it all up, extinguish everything good about it, and then go, oh, well, that's no longer working or no longer, oh, let's just create something fake, something artificial. We'll just do it that way because we haven't respected the original. We're disrespecting ourselves. We're disrespecting the way. We're disrespecting the process. So this is advancing to the return of that utopia state of being. When it stays healthy, you stay healthy. Thus, that which is bright rises twice. Lee shows you your interdependence with others in relationships and your interdependence with the way. Life is what you make of it. Clarity and inspiration abound when receiving this hexagram, and the greatest place to find this is by stepping out of your routine to observe nature. See, observe the original. Go to the mountain. Release the control. Let your soul, let your heart lead the way. Let your soul lead. It will keep you true north. Um, the plants would tell you how, by sitting still, you can follow your inner guidance and flower. The river would tell you to go with the flow. Animals might tell you not to make the hunt for nourishment so complicated. Follow your instinct. Use your senses and honor the blessing of your meal. See, there's a reason you say grace. There's a reason you thank that which you kill for its nourishment. There's a reason that you thank the crop, you thank Mother Earth. We've gotten away from this. We've gotten so far away from this. It's just churn and burn, with no regard to the fact that it's not healthy. It doesn't make us healthy. We don't thrive because we've forgotten our interdependency. So wherever you look, you will see poetry. You'll see this indigo magic, this metamorphosis, this transfiguration. Critical mass as the influence has creative vision at its center. The abysmal suggested a time of adjusting your paradigm, but now you must draw from your inner vision and align it with events. See, the abysmal suggested a time of adjusting your paradigm. We're shifting paradigms. This is a massive shift. We're shifting paradigms. And now you must draw from your inner vision and align with the events. You don't align with the arc of destiny, with the events that are occurring and happening, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be confrontational because train left the station. It's leaving. When life becomes complicated, you need only look for the inspiration that reminds you to follow that which keeps your inner light burning. What are you passionate about? Be that. A time of great creativity or a quantum leap of insight is emerging. Metamorphosis, quantum leap of insight is emerging. Clarity teaches you that the only signpost you need can be found by aligning your inspiration to the path you walk. Lee is the shining light of inspiration that marries your inner and outer world into clarity. They become so crystal clear because you're going, again, your soul is leading. It's heart-based, it's heart-centered. It knows all, you know little. It's going to strip away all of that old. Dreams of transportation symbols teach us about our motivation. Look how they've been using a train as a metaphor. This train leaving the station. The old one, it's docked. It's not moving anywhere. At a dead end. The other one is going the opposite direction. They've said you've got the golden ticket. Remember, we've got the golden ticket. You're on the train. Don't be late for the party. Here's all of that that's there. It is our motivation, conscious or unconscious, that drives us through life. The relic from before birth enters the heart one day. Be as careful as if you were holding a full vessel. Be as gentle as if you were caressing an infant. They're talking about your soul. This is from Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. She's talking about to with the utmost care for your soul, this relic that enters your heart from before birth. The soul knows what it's doing. The soul is divine source. It is divinity. And to care with it like you would an infant, like you would a full vessel. There is some aspect of us that has been unchanging since birth. We need to make it our altar and cling to it. What this means is there is some aspect of us that has been unchanging since birth. the way, the soul, your divinity, your divine spark. It is unchanging because it is whole and complete. It is unchanging because it knows the way. It is everything all at once. We need to make it our altar and cling to that. It's not about clinging to a way or a person or a place or a thing. You know, the definition of suffering is attachment. But when you cling to, meaning are in the lane, in the vein of soul source connection, because it's omni, it's everything. That's let the rest move you and move around. It's artificial. It's being expressed and experienced. What's constant? Source, your divine soul, your divine self, your origin, your raison d'etre, your reason for being is is unchanging, meaning the purity of your essence, the purity of your being, the purity of your light. Cling to that, be that. Neediness is how we misplace our sense of center. I want to bring in this time we're going over. This is such a big topic and show. And they were saying, this is Romans 1:20. It came in and it said, since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his, her, they, eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that man, women, humankind are without excuse. See, we're without excuse. We have no excuse for the way we're behaving. It's plain as day. It's there. We just need to go back to, which means go forward to, we need to go forward to the soul. The soul leads, the way, the master weaver, the light, and all of us shed, purify, shed the control, the shadows, the things that keep us locked in place, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, the things that keep us minimized, marginalized, down. Because once we realize, see, gravity, you're pulling me down. It's not about gravity, it's about clarity. It's about the clarity, the purity of that clarity, the eternalness of that clarity, that truth. And we have no excuses. I mean, we have a lot of them, but we have no excuse because we're at this anaretic degree, this degree of faith, this 29, this 0, this 30 moment of clarity. And they said alignment in the flow, going with the flow. And going with the flow and being in the flow is about soul. It's not about your mind, ego, personality. It's about your soul, your heart, your soul. Um, the last thing they gave me is they said discovering hyphen experiencing in brackets your new self, mind, body, soul, spirit, reality. All of these are going to change form, are going to be transfigured. This metamorphosis of limitless possibility, because that's our origin. And so it's discovering and experiencing your new self. Mind, body, soul, spirit, reality. They're going to change. They are going to morph. They are going to magnify, amplify, change in the most beautiful way. And again, the more you're on that train, I mean, you're either on it or you're not. So the more you're on that train, the more quickly it's all going to occur for you. It's all going to happen. The more it's going to tip the scale, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it. We the people. It's playing out. Um, and last but not least, they brought me back. We had this song before. It's Kelly Clarkson's "Before Your Love." It's a beautiful song about the fact that it's like before your love, I didn't realize these things. Before your love, but I wasn't really living. So it's an awareness. See it from the standpoint of your relationship with yourself, with source. Because before your love, and we're leading with the heart, before your love, I didn't realize I needed these things. I didn't realize I wasn't really living. So we come into this great state of metamorphosis and change. Um, and just to say, yes, the void is often frightening, although it is pregnant with enormous possibility. Remember, the shadow, the void, they are pure at their core, at their origin, at their very nature. They are pure, just as the light is. It's just to what degree have they been sullied? To what degree have we placed limits and control and soiled them? Because it's yin yang. It's the yin yang symbol. It is this beauty of being uh, Olivia, harmonic entrainment, harmonic balance. When we come into that, it is all of that harmony, all of that purity, all of that clarity. So it's a lot this week. I feel like we could have done 2 or 3 shows about this because it's so powerful. I'll leave you with this. Remember last week they said blast off, accelerated. And I've been using the cover of the Malibu Times um, as examples. Well, this was the example on the cover. And what I find really interesting is when you look at that, now, yes, this is 2 jets, but doesn't that look like a rocket? I mean, doesn't that, when you just look at that, isn't that a rocket blasting off, accelerated? Things that make you go, hmm. So until next week, and this calm before the advance, be gentle, be loving, be kind with yourselves. You're not late, you're right on time. Right place, right time, right everything. Go with the flow. Get in the lane of going as guided with your soul so that you rapidly accelerate ever greater clarity, ever greater purpose, ever greater reason, ever greater value. Let the ego, mind, personality take a rest. Get in the passenger seat, in the back seat. Don't kill it. We need healthy egos, minds, personalities. We need that to be healthy. In order for it to be healthy, it needs to be nourished and loved, and it needs to be in harmony and balance. The way to that, soul source connection. The heart leads the way. It's a feeling, it's a knowing, and it's going as guided. I love you all so much. I apologize that I wasn't able to get to all of your comments. I'm going to address them in the show threads. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was so active and so present and participatory. So you all are amazing. I look forward to seeing you next week on this continued journey. Much love to you all.